Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in as we wrap up another week, day 3 of the government shutdown, and Democrats don't quite know what to do next. Their messaging is floundering as they are being called out by the American people, and they don't like it. We have the latest for you in today's show. Longtime Representative Maxine Waters yesterday kind of let the cat out of the bag, if you will, when she acknowledged that her party forced the government into a shutdown on Wednesday in order to secure, quote, health care for everybody, including illegal immigrants. After all week long, they've been saying, nope, they didn't intend for illegals to have health care. We have the latest on that as well. A Portland, Oregon City Council member has released a video advising protesters on how to protect themselves from being detected by immigration officers and other officials. This gives a whole new meaning to public service. Sonny Hostin, one of the more liberal co-hosts of The View, argued yesterday that it's hypocritical for someone to say that they're pro-life but have an AR-15 in their closet. And Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott joins us to talk about how the states are dealing with the government shutdown.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, you know, they don't allow you to put names on bills, but I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
As federal government shutdown rolls into another day, one of the biggest flashpoints is this funding fight, the finger pointing over health care for illegal immigrants. Now, Democrats are saying Republicans and the Trump administration specifically are lying about their intentions. But a viral clip making the rounds this week tells a very different story. Remember back in 2019, during the Democrat presidential primary, NBC's Savannah Guthrie asked candidates a very simple question. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Now, I played this clip yesterday as I was guest hosting for the Mike Gallagher Show. I wish you could see the video. You owe it to yourself to take a minute and look it up. In fact, I may try to put it on my website at joeyhudson.com. I'll try to do that. Because when she asked the question, you had everybody up there. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Kirsty Gillibrand, Pete Buttigieg, and others. There were 12 or 14 candidates then, you may recall. They all raised their hands in the affirmative. So now as Democrats accuse Republicans of spreading misinformation, conservatives are firing back. One saying, hey, you already said it yourselves. Former Democrat Senator Al Franken tried to fact-check Vice President J.D. Vance on X, calling him ignorant for saying Democrats want to fund health care for illegal immigrants. But users quickly reminded him of that 2019 debate, posting the clip for everyone to see. Even Elon Musk chimed in with a very simple LOL. And it is something to laugh about, isn't it? Because surely they're smart enough to remember or know that once you have a video like that that's in the public domain, it never goes away. You can't outrun it. Here's the thing. Illegal immigrants can't buy insurance through Obamacare, but some states like California and New York have found ways to use your money, my money, federal tax dollars to cover them through state-funded Medicaid programs. In fact, California was hit with a federal lawsuit recommending they pay back over $52 million in improperly claimed medical costs for individuals with unsatisfactory immigration status. That's why Speaker Mike Johnson is hammering the point, saying Democrats' push to extend Obamacare subsidies could open the door again to funding programs that benefit those here illegally. He posted this week. Some Democrats now claim they don't want illegal immigrants on Medicaid, but their previous votes and their language in their current bill say otherwise. And as another example, longtime Representative Maxine Waters, like I said a minute ago, the Democrats are having a horrible time with their messaging because they're all out there floundering. They're all saying their own thing. And you don't have to bait them to get them to admit this. Maxine Waters acknowledged that her party forced the government into a shutdown this week in order to secure health care for everybody, she said, which would include illegal immigrants. Waters, 87 years old, she needs to go home, time to retire, was questioned outside of the U.S. Capitol about Democrats' opposition to a stopgap funding bill in both chambers, this CR, the clean CR. Here's the exchange.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse
employees are going
me,
to be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
you're
asking
divisive.
questions.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, that's
you're being
what...
divisive. No,
I'm
please.
not.
You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Appreciate it.
I mean, doesn't that mean when she says for all people and she emphasizes all, would that not mean illegals as well? Now, the Trump White House and Republicans have been needling Democrats for tucking a provision into their competing funding measure that would broaden non-citizens' access to taxpayer-funded health care services. The president posted on his Truth Social after this exchange with Maxine, saying Maxine Waters admitted that she is demanding health care for illegal aliens, and it's going to be the top of the line, taking American taxpayers' health care away from them. Vice President J.D. Vance also said at a White House briefing, the Chuck Schumer, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wing of the Democrat Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government not only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, insisted to Fox Business Network, in terms of health care, the reality is that they are just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts or the ACA, if at all. So he doesn't even really know. And you can't go down the path of, well, it's not a lot of money. It's not that much compared to overall program. You're either supporting health care for illegals or you're not. You can't have it both ways. Jeffries, in a viral interview with CNN anchor Jake Tapper, also said it was a lie that Democrats want to give away health insurance benefits to illegal immigrants. Even Jake Tapper pushed back, saying, but what you support does bring back funding for emergency Medicaid to hospitals, some of which does pay for undocumented immigrants. Bingo. Bam. It's what they want. They just don't want to admit it because, again, their narrative, the American people this week have pushed back in a big way against their narrative. Between fiscal years 2017 and 2023, federal and state government spent a total of $27 billion, $27 billion of our money on emergency Medicaid services for people who were ineligible for full Medicaid coverage because of their immigration status. It's time to stop spending that money. Provisions in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill eliminated non-citizens' access to the services starting next year. Some moderates in both parties have been discussing compromise legislation that could preserve some of the ACA subsidies to avoid a spike in health care premium costs, they say. At least 5 more Democrats must break with their party to move the clean CR through the Senate. The next vote on that measure is expected sometime later today. We will see if it gets across the line.
Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com.
By the way, Senator Lindsey Graham is joining the ranks of members of Congress who says he will not accept pay during this shutdown. This has been a growing trend. Earlier this week, Representative Ralph Norman said that he was introducing legislation that would amend the Constitution to provide that members of Congress would not be paid in the event of a government shutdown. Since then, a number of different members of the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress have said they're just not going to accept the pay. Senator Graham says he will donate his to charity. He has chosen the Upstate Warrior Solution as his beneficiary. And, hey, that's a great organization. I love Upstate Warrior Solution. They're a upstate-based organization that connects active duty military members, reservists, National Guard, first responders. They help them and their families with resources for housing, employment, healthcare, education, and other support services. So kudos to Senator Graham for doing this. Now, if you look at their salary, typically the salary of a congressional member is $174,000. So that would be about $477 per day that Senator Graham and others will be contributing if, in fact, they do that. Again, Ralph Norman says that he is going to offer an amendment to suspend pay. U.S. Representative Nancy Mace requested that her pay would be withheld in an October 1st letter to the House Chief Administration Office. U.S. Representative Joe Wilson from South Carolina similarly asked to withhold his pay until a funding agreement is reached. A spokesperson for U.S. Representative Sherry Biggs said that the Congresswoman is also requesting that her pay be suspended. Look, why don't you just follow Senator Graham's lead and donate it? Texter says, Joey, if Graham donates his pay to a charity, he's still getting paid. Well, that's true. That was Greg and Packle. That's true, Greg, but at least he's not keeping it. He's going to give it to a very worthy cause. While I'm on text messages, I got a great text message here. This is in reference to yesterday. I sometimes talk about Thursdays being Thankful Thursday and what's something you're thankful for. I wanted to share this with you. I had a text yesterday saying, Joey, on this Thankful Thursday, I'm thankful that 18 years ago I was able to reconnect with my first girlfriend from high school in 1972. Dixie, and her name is Dixie, and from the moment I set eyes on her that day 18 years ago, I was in love with her all over. It was like we had never been apart for 35 years. We now have been married for 10 years and have never been happier. Fairy tales do come true. Love your show. Keep the faith. Thank you for sharing that with me. And these are the types of messages I love to get on Thankful Thursday. You don't have to wait till Thursday to send me a nice message like that, though. You can always email me, joey@joeyhudson.com, text me, or better yet, leave me a quick message on the MyPillow message line. Just call 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639, and leave me a message. And always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell has some great deals for you. Giza Dream bed sheets back in stock. What I love is his towels are back in stock. I promise you, if you're looking for nice, fluffy, comfortable towels, but that are absorbent. I mean, I've spent a lot of money on towels sometimes, and they just aren't absorbent. The MyPillow towels are the best towels you'll ever have. Mike Lindell guarantees it. I guarantee it. And right now, the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel, they're back in stock. His proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel that you like. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $69.98. For a limited time, you can get a 6-pack towel set for only $39.98. But you got to tell him I sent you. You got to use promo code Joey. Throw my name around. Use promo code Joey and get this great set of towels for only $39.98. Call 800-893-4059, 800-893-4059, or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Joey and get this MyPillow 6-pack towel set for just $39.98. This deal's not going to last long, so place your order right now today. You know, with all the rhetoric this week, and it gets out of hand sometimes by everybody, I have to just sometimes take a deep breath and focus on what I'm talking about, because it's just so easy to react. But there's a story, and Al Sharpton is one of those guys who is just always stirring up trouble. I don't know that Al Sharpton has ever agreed with anything or ever found an organization that he liked. He's just always against something. And he got called out this week. He was on this rampage about the fact that there were no black congressman from Michigan. He went on and on about this. You know, Michigan doesn't have a black congressman due to tensions, marking the first time in decades, he said, that they've been without black members of Congress in Michigan. Well, actually, there is a black congressman from Michigan, but maybe Al Sharpton doesn't consider him a black congressman because he's a Republican. John James is his name, and he posted on X, hey, at the real Al Sharpton and MSDNC, because Sharpton, you know, is with MSNBC. The black congressman from Michigan here, I've got a message and an invite. Come to Detroit for a debate. Let's talk about how Democrat control has failed families in Detroit neighborhoods for the past 6 decades and how conservative principles can fix it. Here's the message on X from the black congressman from Michigan, John James.
Now, I don't watch MSDNC, but someone just sent me a clip of Reverend Al Sharpton claiming Michigan doesn't have a black congressman.
Because there's been tensions, there are no black members of Congress now from Michigan, first time in decades.
Al, are you that blind? I'm here, and I exist whether you like it or not. I went to war for the right to think for myself. You are not going to erase me because I don't fit your bigoted idea of what a black man is or has a right to be. I'm a West Point grad, Ranger qualified Apache pilot, combat veteran, and businessman. I have 1 wife, 2 master's degrees, 3 kids, and I am the black congressman from Michigan. And yes, I am a Republican. Not because the party's perfect, but because it's the platform that most aligns with the economic and moral values that my grandmama taught me. But unlike some people, politics has not become my religion, though Michigan is my mission field and service is my calling. My loyalty is to God, my country, and my family. In 2024, more young black men gave President Trump a serious look for jobs, paycheck, safety, and respect. Your blindness, Reverend, is part of the reason we can't have nice things. But we can change that. Come to Detroit. Talk to some of us. Let's you and I have a little debate about whether decades of Democrat control is working out for black families in neighborhoods, or if it's time for Michigan's first black governor to bring positive change for everybody. Now, I don't watch MSDNC, but someone just sent me a clip of Reverend Al Sharpton claiming Michigan doesn't have a black congressman.
Because there's been tensions, there are no black members of Congress now from Michigan, first time in decades.
Al, are you that blind? I'm here, and I exist whether you like it or not. I went to war for the right to think for myself. You are not going to erase me because I don't fit your bigoted idea of what a black man is or has a right to be. I'm a West Point grad, Ranger qualified Apache pilot, combat veteran, and businessman. I have one wife, 2 master's degrees, 3 kids, and I am the black congressman from Michigan. And yes, I am a Republican. Not because the party's perfect, but because it's the platform that most aligns with the economic and moral values that my grandmama taught me. But unlike some people, politics has not become my religion, though Michigan is my mission field and service is my calling. My loyalty is to God, my country, and my family. In 2024, more young black men gave President Trump a serious look for jobs, paycheck, safety, and respect. Your blindness, Reverend, is part of the reason we can't have nice things. But we can change that. Come to Detroit. Talk to some of us. Let's you and I have a little debate about whether decades of Democrat control is working out for black families and neighborhoods, or if it's time for Michigan's first black governor to bring positive change for everybody.
Now, you think the Reverend Al will go to Michigan, will go to Detroit to debate this guy? I did a little research on him. He's an impressive man. He's running for governor of Michigan in 2026. He announced back in April, and he's pretty impressive. He goes on. He talks about his background as a West Point graduate, a Ranger qualified Apache pilot, combat veteran, businessman. He has quite the resume, and he's a very impressive black congressman from Michigan that I guess Al doesn't count him because he's a Republican. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. The father of a murdered 22-year-old is wanting justice. 22-year-old Logan Federico was murdered in a downtown Columbia neighborhood while visiting friends at the University of South Carolina, and her dad wants to see his daughter's case handled by federal prosecutors after he said it was failures of the state court system that contributed to his daughter's killing. Now, here's the story. Steve Federico from Waxhaw, North Carolina, said if it hadn't been for record-keeping mistakes and plea deals that had led to lighter sentencing, the man accused of murdering his daughter likely would have been in prison rather than out to commit more crimes. He certainly should have been, he said. And this week, Mr. Federico indicated that he wants prosecutors to pursue the death penalty, the only punishment he thinks fits the charges against the accused killer, Alexander Dickey. He told the South Carolina Daily Gazette this week, he executed Logan, I want him dead. On Thursday, the chief prosecutor of Richland County, Democrat Byron Gibson, released a letter that says he hasn't yet decided whether or not to seek the ultimate punishment. It criticized Attorney General Alan Wilson for suggesting he'd take over if the solicitor doesn't decide soon. Now, here's what we know about Alexander Dickey. He's 30 years old. He's accused of fatally shooting Logan Federico during the early morning hours of May the 3rd after breaking into the house where she was staying. According to police, Dickey killed the young woman amid a multi-day crime spree that began with him stealing a car in Richland County and ended with his arrest after he broke into a Lexington County home and set it on fire. Dickey remains in jail without bond after his indictment June 25th on 12 charges, including murder, burglary, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. This all according to Richland County court records. He's also facing 23 charges in Lexington County, including arson, burglary, larceny, and banking crimes, according to court records. This is a bad guy, but this is just the beginning of it. Now, it's unclear whether he intends to plead guilty or not guilty. He has a public defender, Fielding Pringle, who declined to comment to the Daily Gazette. But it's this young man's history of past arrests and convictions that has this father questioning whether or not he should have been out of prison to begin with. Now, get this. Since this guy was 18 years old, police have charged him with at least 48 crimes across 14 different occasions, according to a criminal record report from the State Law Enforcement Division. Those are all before his charges back in May. The arrest history included 31 felony crimes, mostly breaking into vehicles, but also some theft and burglary. 10 of them were traffic crimes. He was convicted on 8 of those felony charges and pled 2 or more down to misdemeanors. He served 3 terms in prison, November 2014 to May 2017, April to August 2018, and December 2019 to February 2021. This again, according to State Department of Corrections. Now, at age 19, a grand larceny conviction combined with a conviction for third-degree burglary landed him in a 5-year prison sentence, of which he appears to have served about half of that. A drug charge led to his short stay in 2018 in prison. At that time, he was 23 years old. At the age of 24, a strong-arm robbery conviction resulted in a 4-year sentence, of which he served a little more than a year. For breaking into a vehicle in 2013 and then another one in 2014, judges assigned him probation. You kind of get the idea here, the trend? This guy was a bad guy. He had no respect for the law whatsoever or other people's property. Now, by reoffending, Dickey broke the terms of his probation on multiple crimes, and a judge could have required him to serve another 6 years or more in prison as a result, but the judge did not. Then, in 2023, police arrested him for burglary yet again. After the prosecutors and Dickey reached a plea deal, a judge had the option of sentencing Dickey to as much as 5 years in prison. The judge also could have rejected the deal, keeping to the original second-degree burglary charge that comes with penalties up to 10 years. Instead, the judge ruled that the 411 days that Dickey spent in jail while waiting for his case to proceed was enough time to serve, and he let him out again on probation. Now, the issue here, Lexington County's chief prosecutor, talking to NBC affiliate WIS-TV in Columbia, was the earlier burglary charges did not show up in his criminal history record maintained by the State Law Enforcement Division, and the plea deal had treated the burglary as a first-time offense, despite Dickey's earlier convictions and a long list of convictions. Had they known, the 11th Circuit Solicitor, Rick Hubbard, told WIS his office would not have struck the deal. So this is why the dad is so upset, as he should be, because of these mistakes, the overlooking some of the previous offenses. Let this guy be out on the street, which allowed him to kill his daughter. SLED's explanation was that it never received fingerprints from the 2014 burglary arrest. And according to SLED, a receipt of fingerprints is what prompts the agency to add charges to someone's record. So as you can see, there's just a series of things that were kind of bungled or overlooked by judges that allowed this guy to be out on on the streets. Now, this guy has just really upset the wrong person. Steve Federico is not going to let this one get by. I can promise you this guy will not be out on the street again to murder someone else's daughter, because this dad intends to get justice for his daughter. Steve Federico, the reason we're talking about this case today is because he testified before the U.S. House Judiciary Committee on oversight in Charlotte on victims of violent crime. Politicians have now gotten involved here in South Carolina as well, weighing in on social media. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, who's running for governor, called it a clear illustration of our failed justice system. U.S. Representative Nancy Mace, also running for governor, specifically attacked Attorney General Alan Wilson, accusing him of doing nothing to prosecute the case. U.S. Representative Ralph Norman, also running for governor, has called on the impeachment of the solicitor Gibson, the Fifth Circuit solicitor, whom Federico accused of failing to communicate with him about his daughter's murder. And this week, when asked by the South Carolina Daily Gazette if he would seek the death penalty, Solicitor Gibson's office declined to comment. So what does Attorney General Alan Wilson do? He sent him some help to make that decision. He assigned Melody Brown, chief of his office's death penalty unit, to assist Gibson's prosecution team. Her extensive experience includes working on the death penalty cases that ultimately ended in the state's 6 executions since September of 2024. Wilson noted in his own public release letter that he's going to help the solicitor make the right decision. Again, this young man will never see the light of day again simply because this dad is seeking justice for his daughter, as he should. And God bless him. God bless that whole family. Joining me on the guest line, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Welcome to Government Shutdown. Your thoughts on that?
Well, our government's not shut down. I'm still working. So, it's not a bonus or anything for me, but it's terrible, right? And I love how the Democrats have this uncanny way of twisting everything and turning it around.
Yeah.
Right? They're refusing to budge. And I hope people are really focused in what they're worried about. They're willing to close down our government to give free health insurance to illegals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're willing to stop our progress for individuals who shouldn't be here and should not be receiving benefits from our tax dollars.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, Joey.
It is quite amazing, isn't it? Under, what scenario should someone who has literally broken into our country and now they expect health insurance, and the Democrats say, well, let's provide it. But, there's a lot of finger pointing here, back and forth. Speaker Johnson yesterday is very clear that this was the big issue. Of course, Chuck Schumer says, oh, no, that's not it. This doesn't do that. Vice President J.D. Vance made it very clear yesterday. He came back and supported, after George Stephanopoulos tried to take the Speaker Johnson down, the vice president came back and said, well, let me just straighten things out. I mean, it's very, very clear that the big issue is providing illegals health care. And I don't get it. You would think that they live in this country. They have to, they need services just like you and I do, and that they would close the country down to try to get health insurance for illegals. I don't get it. Help me here.
Well, Joey, I mean, please, neither of us are going to be able to figure out the inner workings of the Democrat mind anymore. It's just, we just can't wrap our arms around it. But I really wish, and maybe somebody has, because I haven't seen every single interview, but why is nobody asking Senator Schumer about his comments through the years, right? Where he says it's not right to shut a government down. And this is not what we do. And it hurts people. He goes, there's just an endless amount of footage of all these things he said. And, it's interesting because I was watching some of the commentators and they're like, when you get in front of, people like, Chuck Schumer or this Mondami, the follow-up questions are just not there. Right? They have these talking points, hashtag bumper sticker comments that they love to make. But get them down. Like they're not going on shows that will drill down and ask the tough follow-up questions. They're going on very friendly shows. They're having their team stop them. Like as soon as they get their point out, then it's like, oh, they got to go.
Yep.
They got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't ask anything more. And that's the problem. There's no substance behind these things that they're saying.
Yeah. So talk with us, Lieutenant Governor Evett, about how this affects state agencies and state services, or does it?
Well, we do. There are a lot of things that come from the federal government to the states, right? Like let's look at Office of the Aging. Almost 100% of the funds that go to Office of the Aging come from the federal government, right? And we're kind of the pass-through administrator to that, to seniors in our area. So yeah, it does affect us at the state level when it comes to things like that. The good thing is we're a good state. We have reserves, unlike our Democrat blue states. We don't spend every dime we have, and so we're going to be okay. But it causes problems that everybody has to deal with.
Yeah. As you were out yesterday, what was the response that you're getting from small businesses and other people around the state?
Well, I think people want Democrats to implode, and they want Republicans to stand the line and do what's right with their tax dollars. And so I think in the short term, you're going to see people go, it's okay. It's kind of like with President Trump when you talk to businesses, when he started talking about tariffs. And, there were, the news, the commentators were just melting down, and the Democrats were saying you're going to hurt everybody. And what I had heard from businesses, and, not 100%, but the general sentiment was, listen, we've got to fix this problem, right? So everybody is kind of like, on a lot of these issues, like it's gone too long. The Democrats have been in control for too long. They've gotten us here. We need adults in the room. We need people who are willing to stand their ground and say, listen, we have got to turn a corner. And so I think in the short term, you're seeing everybody go, hey, we're resilient, we're okay, and we need to change things for the better because we can't keep going down the road we're on.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this whole situation is the fact that the clean continuing resolution that the GOP is asking them to vote on is the Biden budget. I mean, this is the same budget that they have voted on over and over and over the past 4 years. And now suddenly they don't want to do that. All right. I want you to get your official lieutenant governor's crystal ball out, the one with the state seal on it there, and tell us how long is this going to last?
If I had to say, I think that they're going to continue it out through the week and try to make their point and see what ground they cover. I think you're going to start seeing by tomorrow, and then depending on what happens over the weekend, I think you're going to see something over the weekend. That's what I think. They're going to kind of push it, and their constituents are going to start putting pressure on them to move it. And that's what we have to hope happens, is that their constituents who are going to start to feel the crunch, they're going to keep texting and calling and going, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't know that they're necessarily going to feel the crunch, because as of right now, I'm not sure many people even know that it's closed down, other than the fact they've seen it, they've heard it here on the radio, or they've seen it, online or something. But, so far, unless you're going to a national park or the Smithsonian or something like that. And I still don't understand why those people just walk off their job, and yet we're still going to pay them when everything gets back to normal. But that's another topic for another day. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett, it's always a pleasure. Be safe out there. We'll catch up again soon.
Sounds great, Joey. It's always great catching up with you. Have a great weekend. God bless.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.